Hello, community. My name's Selena Lopez, and I am excited to once again be here at Unidos por la Música for another discussion about what's happening in their organization for this quarter of 2023. And to welcome, let's hear it for Oscar Ayon, the president of Unidos por la Música.
Thank you, Selena, for being here.
Hola, hola.
As always, good to see you. We're here again. 2023 first quarter. Can you believe that?
I can't.
Time is flying. We always say that, but indeed it is always flying.
It's flying. And you know what? You're always surprising the community of something new and always developing on new things for your organization. But I'm so excited to talk about everything. And honestly, we have some very nice surprises at the end, right? But let's start with what really matters, right? So, healthcare for all.
Right.
And what you're doing and what you did, for the last quarter, which is important with open enrollment.
Correct. Yeah, so open enrollment takes place the last quarter of every year, beginning of the new year. And so what that means is that families have a chance now to either enroll in a new medical program or change providers, change doctors, all of that. And you can either go into the market, which is called Cover California, or you can go into Medi-Cal, based on your income, based on your family size. So I'm happy to say that this quarter we were able to enroll and educate families, more than 1,000 families in the IE, in the Inland Empire here in California.
1,000.
Yes.
Wow. And you said Inland Empire?
Inland Empire, San Bernardino and Riverside County. So we have counselors that go to different community events, other resources centers, senior apartments, just places of gather where families tend to gather, and we, educate them. We, create, awareness of, hey, take care of your health. Again, I know I said this before, but when it comes to taking care of our body, slowing down, sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes we just go work. And, we need to do our yearly routines, for everything, sugar, pressure, cholesterol, all of that, especially if you're a busy mom, obviously dad that it's in the go, or student, you know what I mean? So we need to take the moment to slow down and go see a doctor. So
and you know what? I'm glad that you mentioned that, Oscar, because I'm an independent mom and I'm guilty of that, right? Mm-hmm. You go, and you don't stop.
Right.
You don't see the symptoms, So every time I come here, I feel like a quarter, right? It's a reminder for me, like, go check yourself, Selena. So thank you for what you do. Again, our health is priority. Without having our health, everything crumbles, right?
Right, and we like to think that we're invincible, that we're not gonna break, but reality is that we're getting older, or life happens. Just simply, life happens. I had a neighbor that passed away. Young guy, 50. He was always doing races, exercising all the time, and he died of a heart attack.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hearing that more and more, right? And I think it's just because the stress, the pressures that we all take on, and again, we don't stop to say, okay, let's focus on us and let's do something about it, right? So how have you seen this program? I know you have been doing this for quite some time. So what are the numbers? What have you seen increase, as time goes on, or quarter after quarter, as far as you educating the community?
The numbers always vary a little bit because our community tend to be resilient, especially now that having a health insurance, it's not a law. Before you were being penalized per family member, and that's what kept people in a way motivated to enroll on a health program. But now that it's kind of like not the case, because the pandemic happened and a lot of people are hurting financially, so the government is trying to kind of be easy on us, but at the same time it has opened the door for those individuals that want to save money and by not enrolling in an affordable health plan. But then again, if you ended up in the emergency room, or God forbid you have an emergency, now you're out of pocket. Now you have to refinance your house, sell your jewelry or something like that. So the number always kind of goes up and down.
Right. Okay. And it's a good point. So it's either refinance your house, your credit, because things go in collections, you're not able to pay, et cetera, et cetera. So for saving a couple dollars, it could turn your life around, for any future plans that you might have. So thank you for educating our community.
And that's part of the education that we do with our counselors, because again, when you meet, families in the community, it's hard to open up, about your health issues. So you got to build that trust, right? And you got to educate them and open up the whole picture so they can see it as to why it is important for you to be healthy, for you to be, at your doctor's visits, especially if you're a mom, you have kids, or if you're a grandma, you have, grandchildren and everything. So you want to be healthy, you want to be around for your family and friends, right? You don't want to miss on their birthdays and stuff like that. So in order to do that, you got to really take action.
And for the community that is watching us, who or where can they call to enroll in some of these courses, educational courses that you're talking about?
The best way will be follow us on Instagram, because we're always updating, the workshops or events or enrollment opportunities. So follow us on Unidos por la Música _ You can get all the info. That's the best. Nowadays, that's the best way to see what's happening in your community.
Right. No, I agree. And so moving on to education. You received a grant from LULAC, which is national known Latino organization that advocates for our Latino community. And so it's called Sembrando Comunidad. So explain to the community what exactly is that, and what are you doing for this grant?
So Sembrando Comunidad, it goes hand in hand with the food bank. And it's pretty much, again, educating the families of the resources available to them. SNAP and WIC. There's a lot of confusion. If I apply for SNAP, which is food stamps, is that going to affect my green card status? And so the answer will be no. But it depends on your case, where you at. But so that's the main goal of Sembrando Comunidades. Going out to the community and say, hey, look, we have CalFresh, we have SNAP, we have WIC, take advantage, because those programs are funded by by the Fed, by the government. And what happens if there's no demand? Then they take away that resource, and they will allocate that resource, that funding, to another county, to another state, and then that's when we kind of then we will complain, right?
Right. So there's no funding.
There's no funding for us, but you know what I mean. But I think that the lack of education, the lack of knowledge, is why we haven't seen a huge increase in food stamps and CalFresh and all that, because a lot of people get confused too. Especially if there's a mixed household. If if your daughter lives with you and she's married and she's independent from you because she's filing separately, but they live in the same house,
right?
And so that's where things get a little bit confusing, and that's why people sometimes they either call somewhere and they're like, no, I don't qualify because I live with my mom. But the reality is that when it's a mixed family, you can both apply independently. Okay. So it's just a lot of education,
and probably some paperwork that some people don't know how to file, what paperwork is needed, and you have your team of experts that guide them and educate them in that process.
Right. So Sembrando Comunidad is that it's just creating awareness of how can you take advantage of these resources available to you if you're not working, underemployed, if you're a single mom, recently got divorced, whatever the case is. Those are resources that are available to you. But in order for you to take advantage, you gotta know where to go, what paperwork to do, how to fill out the application. So Unidos por la Música has counselors that can help you with that.
And earlier when you were talking, you mentioned that sometimes our Latino community is scared because of their visa status and whatnot, right? And so this is throughout our nation. And you mentioned they will take those resources away. And I know firsthand when I'm out in the community talking to the community, a lot of people are scared of applying for these resources, right? And a lot of them do need it, but it's just that fear of their status, right? So what would you tell that community to say, I know that you're an organization of trust, so what would you tell them to say, what, let the fear to the side. Come and see us. Or what would you actually tell them?
Yeah, well, I was going to say that actually. You took the words right out of my mouth. Just reach out to your local church, local nonprofit of favor, you know, someone that you trust, someone that you've gone in the past and you can rely on them and say, you know what, I trust this nonprofit. And that's why, you know, when we get funding from, you know, different sources, that's the main point why nonprofits get funded, because funders, you know, financial institutes that provide money, they know that we have that trust, that connection with the community.
Right.
So that would be my advice. Visit your local nonprofit. We welcome you into Unidos por la Música. We can help you. Again, you can follow us on Instagram, Unidos por la Música _. We can help you. We can set you an appointment with a counselor. But if it's not us, then go to your local church. Go to, you know, another nonprofit.
Right?
No, don't be scared. You know,
Right.
and just ask questions, and then you know, you'll see that that's not the case. You know, same thing with Medi-Cal. You know,
Right.
back in the days, you know, before Obama, you know, it was the case. If you had houses, cars, a savings
that.
account, all that play into a decision whether or not you qualified and whether or not you were responsible to pay back.
Right.
But ever since the Obamacare Act, that took that away.
Right.
So now anyone can apply for Medi-Cal, and they're not gonna come after your house, or they're not gonna come after your savings account or your cars. None of that.
Good.
But again, you know, there's a lot of miscommunication, and there's a lot of myths. You know, us Latinos, nos gusta creer todo lo que la gente dice, and sometimes we need to stop doing that, and we need to really, you know, take the step and to walking into a church, into a nonprofit, someone that you trust, and say, hey, I'm here because I need help for Medi-Cal or CalFresh or whatever it is that you need.
Yeah. And making that phone call is free, right? You just need a few minutes of your time, and I know time is precious, but to make that phone call, write that email, that message, you know, on Instagram, just to say, hey, I'm in this situation, I need help. How can I get this help, right? So it doesn't take much but a few minutes to reach out to you, and perhaps it could make their livelihood a little bit easier in whatever situation they might have, right?
Yeah,
so
you nailed it.
Perfect. Okay, so we're moving on. What is going on with the education of vaccine? I know now that they've kind of released, you know, we're no longer in pandemic. You know, everybody's more laid back. What is going on? Like, what are we now seeing with the vaccine?
Yeah, that was another campaign that we were part of that. It was called Vaccine 58 All Neighborhood. It was a great program, and the goal of that campaign was to remind the community about safety when taking vaccines, you know, COVID-19 vaccines, because you know, again, there's still a lot of myths around the vaccine. You know, it's the virus, I'm gonna get sick, down the line I'm gonna get you know, sick or something like that. So it was just reassuring the families, and especially those that haven't even take one dose of the COVID vaccine, to feel sure that, you know, that if they choose to finish the line, you know, get to the finish line, they're doing the right thing. They're not only protecting themselves, but they're protecting the community as well, their family, their friends. So that was the whole point of that campaign, just reassuring the community that it is safe to continue to do your dose of vaccines of COVID-19, or to take your first dose.
Okay, great. And do you still see a lot of pushback or from the community? Do you still see like people that are still active and still want that extra boost?
Yeah, of course, because now people are now comparing, you know, those that took the vaccine to those that didn't, you know. And what I mean with that is like, oh, my neighbor, you know, did the vaccine and now she's having all these complications.
Right.
Luckily, I didn't do it. Look at me, I'm healthy, you know, and I don't need it. You know?
I've heard that. I've heard that.
So that's now the aftermath of the whole vaccine. You know, your people are now comparing to, oh, well, you know, she was healthy prior to the vaccine, now she's not, and I'm glad I didn't do it. But that is not the case. Everybody's different. Your body is different. You know, we have a different immune system, you know, so just because maybe you come from a family that has cancer doesn't mean that you might have cancer, you know. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, the neighbor who was a healthy guy, you would have never imagined that he died of a heart attack.
Right.
You know, so everybody's different, and I think that that is the first mistake that we like to do, especially as Latinos. We like to compare ourselves with somebody else. Everybody's different.
Everybody's
So, you know, I encourage the community to go, please go and go to your local clinic. There's still, go to unidosporlamusica.org. You can find where you can go and get vaccinated for COVID-19.
Great, great. So overall, continue to focus on your health, stay strong.
Ask questions,
find the resources. It's very important. And again, you go to unidosporlamusica.com to get any information, or their Instagram. You'll find everything there. Moving on to your other successful program, and it's your food bank program. So I know that you have continued to service our Inland Empire community, because I have seen the lines wrap around, you know, streets and around your office, right? And according to my notes and my research that I've done, you have given more than $1 million worth in goods in just the first quarter of 2023. So how do you see this? You know, now comparing to COVID era, right? How do you see those numbers increasing, decreasing, stabilizing now, today?
Eventually it has increased, because as you were reading that number, I remember a couple years back, our total number of goods was like 2 mil. You know, and I'm looking at the plaques that we get from the board.
Right.
And the first quarter is the 1 mil worth of goods.
Wow.
You know, so definitely we have seen an increase, and we have seen a lot more corporations coming forward, trying to be part of a solution, especially when it comes to fighting food insecurity. Again, you know, that is a problem for the Inland Empire here in California, and we're blessed to be working with amazing corporations like Costco, Amazon, Walmart, Cricket Wireless, just to mention a few, that they truly value the role of corporate social responsibility, and they truly understand what it means to be fighting food insecurity. So that number, as my team was adding all those numbers this morning in the office, and when I got those numbers, I was really blown away, just like the way you are now, because we have seen an increase, definitely, you know, and all that happened after the pandemic.
And all that happened after the pandemic, and it stabilized. Like you said, you've seen an increase, but you've stabilized. But what's going to happen? I mean, there's talks out there that there might be increase in unemployment rates. Are you going to be able to sustain and continue funding this to our community, to our Inland Empire?
Well, it will definitely have a negative impact, because people not working, that means they're not spending dollars, right? And so just to explain a little bit to the community, so the way we get these goods are returns from Costco, Walmart, Amazon, you know, and they're good products, right? So that means that somebody out there in the community went and bought a microwave and took it home and decided that they don't want it, so they take it back to the store. So the store now has to donate it to a local nonprofit, and it happens to be us, Unidos por la Música. So now we're giving that microwave to a family, right? So if an employment gets higher, if there's less people working, there's less dollars to spend. So people are not gonna be, so in other words, you know, Walmart or Amazon, they're not gonna have enough, you know, a large inventory to give away.
Right.
And so we're gonna have a bigger line with fewer products.
That's true.
So that's how, you know, it has a domino effect.
Completely. And yet the lines are going to keep increasing, wanting the demand, right? But now the demand is not there. So what would you say to our corporate corporations out there? You know, how can they get involved in this mission?
Definitely. I mean, if one of their core values is, you know, hunger, they can reach out to Unidos por la Música at our website or social medias as well. We would love to hear from you, and you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, 500 Fortune companies, right? It could be a local mom and pop business that wants to make a difference. We welcome everybody, but truly get behind, because like you were saying, you know, the economy, we're still fighting, and we can hear about recession, you know, interest still being high, and all that. So if it happens, we want to be ready for the
Right.
community. So we want to start working in that relationship, that if indeed something like that was to happen again, we can reach out to them and say, hey, listen, what can you do for us?
Right. And it's like you said, it's hearing what's happening in the news, whether it happens or not, is being prepared for those families that continue to need that food, in their tables, continue to need those goods that perhaps maybe they cannot purchase anymore because now, they're not working. So for those corporations that are out there and hearing, like you, Oscar mentioned, small and pop businesses that perhaps did really well for their small business, this is a tax write-off donation. And so sometimes, I hear from the small business community, I wish there was a nonprofit or someone that I could donate to this cause. Why not, look at your local nonprofit and say, you know what, I want to donate to them, for this cause that they're doing. And I want to help my community, because guess what? If our community is doing well, then they're going to be able to purchase your items in your small business, right? So that's great. And I know you mentioned Cricket, so you're still continuing that relationship with Cricket
we're still
Wireless.
fighting phone security with Cricket Wireless. I want to acknowledge them for their support. The management team in our region, they're amazing. And we're now going into Orange County as well, LA County, San Fernando Valley.
Wow.
And we're also visiting more rural areas within the Inland Empire. So we love them. They truly understand our mission, and again, at the end of the day, it's a win-win, because we're bringing clients into the stores who are low-income families, but everybody needs a phone,
Right.
And during the pandemic, they were also working a great program for families that were truly financially affected. They were able to get a phone line for $10.
Wow.
So that is something that we admire about Cricket Wireless, that they're not just in the community to do business, but they're also there to provide for our community.
And help our community. That's awesome. And another provider that's coming for the second time, Dutch Coffee. First of all, let's talk about that. How did you start that relationship? How did you even think about partnering with Dutch Coffee?
Well, you know me, I'm always looking at the computer.
Opportunity.
Who can I send an email? They're well known in the East Coast, so they're now moving into the West Coast.
Right.
So Starbucks, watch out! And so I heard that they were gonna have a grand opening in our local communities, and I just reached out and say, hey, we're a nonprofit, we're doing this. They love what we do, and they said, you know what, we want to partner up with you. So every year they do, in the month of February, they do Love Dutch, and so for every drink that the community purchases, we get $1 back. So last year we did it one store. They raised for us $3,000. This year they raised close to $7,000. So we want to say thank you for the support.
Thank you.
And something that I love about that company is that their management and their stores, they're all youth. They're young kids. They're college students.
And I'm sure they were all pushing it, right? Would you like to donate $1?
Yeah, so they're amazing. So shout out to them and in the city of Eastville and also Fontana.
That's awesome. Gosh, $7,000, and that's one day.
One day, yes.
One day you were able to raise
So they were saying that next year maybe we can push it to 4 stores.
that.
So
Ooh, wish us luck.
yeah.
Luck and hard work. Again, you continue your relationship with IHP. So tell us, what are you doing? Because I hear now that you're becoming an ambassador. You are an ambassador of IHP. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, IHP opened up a program. They were looking for ambassadors to, really get out there in the community. And again, education about, access to health programs, all of that. And they know we have a great, relationship with the communities. We've been in the nonprofit sector for 12 years now. So, when they were looking for ambassadors, I reached out to them and I say, hey, we would love to be an ambassador. So we have a team of ambassadors that go out to different clinics in the county of Riverside, especially. They want to focus on that region, and we're just out there, reminding people about, Medi-Cal, Medi for seniors, all of that. So we're honored to be part of the IHP family, and we're hoping to continue to be working with them.
That's great. It's always nice to see when partnerships happen and it's years in the making, right? and you continue that, and now to be an ambassador for this large organization, it's amazing.
And we love that because, it is a win-win, and there's areas that probably they don't know about Unidos por la Música. And so doing this collaboration, this partnership, it opens other doors for us, for Unidos por la Música, and for the community to know that Unidos por la Música nonprofit is here in the county. If you didn't know about Unidos por la Música, well, now you walk into that clinic and that specific city, and you're like, oh, Unidos por la Música, música, what? What is that?
Yeah.
So it's a win-win. So we like to collaborate with partners like IHP. Not only because we're getting the brand recognition, but also because we wanna, at the end of the day, we wanna be able to push our mission to other cities.
And I mean, they're both very mission driven, right? You're both focusing on the same thing, so why not collaborate and join forces? So moving on, I know that, and when I was talking to you, the Chino Water District has given you a donation. This is the third donation you received from.
Yes.
So what exactly again, how and why?
someone in their team, I don't know how they do it, but someone in their team, they proposed Unidos por la Música to be a recipient. Every year they do this. I guess they ask their employees, we want to donate, who it's your favorite charity, and somebody in there, which we have no clue who it is, selected Unidos por la Música, and everybody voted on Unidos por la Música for the third year.
Wow.
And and we were blessed and we're honored to have received that funding that was strict into the food bank.
That's amazing. And again, it's word of mouth by what they're seeing, the need, and of course the wonderful job that your marketing team does, on social media platforms.
Yeah, they're watching. Somebody's watching.
They're all watching.
Everybody's watching.
Tell your marketing director they need to keep it up, right? All right, moving on. So, this is all the great work that you're doing. But again, the money. Corporate is helping you with some grants, are helping you to support some of this, but then that is not enough. Nowadays, there's a lot of competition for grants. There's not enough money to go around through the Inland Empire. So you have to continue being creative in order for you to bring those funds to the Inland Empire to continue doing all the great work that you do. So events through
music,
transforming lives
through the power of music.
Through the power of music.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so recently you had an Impact Awards at the Ontario Convention Center, where you had a lot of Latin artists, influencers, reporters, local, nationally. So tell us a little bit why it's important to recognize all these individuals.
Every year, Unidos por la Música wants to take the moment to acknowledge everyone that has made an impact in our community through either because they were performing at one of the events, or a corporation who donated something, or a news reporter, that did a segment on Unidos por la Música, putting the spotlight. So every year, our board, we want to take the time to say thank you, and this is the impact. This is what we done. This year we were honored to recognize Telemundo, also Mar, an artist who is daughter to Marco Antonio Solis, Cricket Wireless, IE Chai, who is a great health partner of us. Even yourself,
I know, it was
for
so
being
nice.
For being a great parent in the community, connecting the dots. You need this, go there. If you need that, go there. So it's Unidos por la Música is making a difference in the community, not just by ourselves, but by a team.
Right.
I always say that it's not just Oscar or my team here in the office. It's everyone collectively behind. Volunteers, corporations, parents, artists, influencers, everybody that plays a role into who we are and what we do. And at the end of the day, that is the way we can humbly say thank you for your contribution.
Yes.
And we hope that we can continue with your support.
Right. And no, it was a beautiful event. You always do. You take it that extra mile, right, to make sure that we feel the love, and I know I felt the love, that day. So thank you for the award.
Yeah, and we want to say thank you to Pete Aguilar, or Congress, or local Congress, for stepping forward and also giving our recipients or honorees a certificate, acknowledging your contribution to our county of San Bernardino and Riverside County. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Pete Aguilar.
Yes, and it's important to bring our elected officials, right? So they understand what the impact of the nonprofit in their communities that they represent is really doing, right?
Correct. Yeah, because at the end of the day, nonprofits, although we're not selling goods, but we're closing the gap.
Correct.
We're closing the gap in between families who are transitioning from not being financially stable to eventually being stable and injecting the economy with the goods that we give out. So I think that it's really important for selected officials to know the power that not only those, but the power of nonprofits play in their communities.
In their communities. So yes, thank you, Mr. Aguilar. And then, of course, the power of the concerts and the concerts that bring that profit back to the Inland Empire. So there's been a few artists. I know in the past you knocked it out of the park with Banda MS. They had 2 sold-out concerts, and now you want to tell us a little bit more of the power of the music?
Of course, yeah. So we did. So we're continuing. We're continuing to work with Bobby D, who is a great promoter, producer here in Southern California. We did a concert at Colorado. It was R&B music. It was called Playlist Tour with Ashanti and some of the other artists, and it was beautiful. To be able to come back with funding. Out of that concert, we were able to raise $50,000 that is going to open up a year-round scholarship for DACA students.
Wow.
So all that info is going to go up in the first week of May. We're calling out DACA students who are facing financial hardship, and they can access to this scholarship to pay for books, tuition, rent, utilities, whatever they want to use it for. That scholarship is going to be now open all year round. Before it was only open during fall quarter, so now we're gonna. I'm glad to announce that we're gonna open that scholarship all year round.
Wow! So one concert in Colorado brought you $50,000 to the Inland Empire, right? Wow, that's amazing. So and that's just first quarter.
Correct. Yes.
Wow. And then the other concerts you've had. So we've had a total of, you had mentioned earlier, $150,000 in total funding.
Funding for the first quarter.
For the first quarter only to the Inland Empire. Correct. Wow.
That is the power of music.
Power of music.
The power of music. Yeah.
That's amazing. And is there any more concerts coming up?
Yes, we are. We recently announced the tour with Peso Pluma. He is a Mexican artist, regional mexicano, who is killing the game. Makes me feel proud to be Mexicano. He is number 1 in Spotify. He is number 1 everywhere. He removed Bad Bunny, which we love Bad Bunny, but now we have a Mexicano globally number 1. And he is from Guadalajara, raised in Sonora and Sinaloa, and so we announced a tour with him. So it's Bobby D, Unidos por la Música, es Rancho Humilde, it is Live Nation.
Wow.
All of us behind in this Peso Pluma tour, and we're humble and honored and forever grateful with Bobby D for giving us the opportunity. You were asking me behind scenes that what are some of the benefits of having this partnership with Bobby D. And prior to this partnership with Bobby D, we were doing concerts and stuff like that, but we were facing a lot of obstacles and bumps in the road, because at the end of the day, artists are in the business to make money, and yeah, they love music and that's their passion, but it is hard. It was hard for us to compete on a day with an artist. And especially if being that it's the LA market, it is such a big market for any artist that they don't want to just give that market away to anybody. Correct. So and we understand that. We understand that artists were selective just because they want to be able to work with a promoter who is going to give them more business.
Right.
Versus us, we're not promoters, so we can only offer you one fecha, one day,
Date.
one
Yeah.
concert. And so those were a little bit of the challenges that we were facing.
Because even though artists want to support you,
Right.
for them financially,
Right.
it wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't make sense, and then it will hinder maybe the relationship with other promoters that
Right.
are willing to give them a whole tour.
Right.
So we were, we came together, myself with my board, and we were kind of reconnecting. How can we make it work for us, for all of us? And so I said, I think the best way will be to create this alliance, this partnership with the promoter. And last year when we did Lucia Mendez, 50 años de carrera, we invited a lot of people that I wanted for them to know who Unidos por la Música was, and we invited the PR, the director for Bobby D, Patricia Torres, and she fell in love with Unidos por la Música and said, you know what, we gotta get you with my boss, Bobby D. And I was like, Bobby D, oh my God. I just sent Bobby D an email like 3 months ago trying to see if I can schedule a meeting with him.
Right.
And here we are now. We met
Wow.
with Bobby. He's a great man. He's a great heart. And say, let's do it. So we're working with him. We're grateful, and we're doing Peso Pluma, the tour. We're doing the first half of the leg of the tour, and then Live Nation Rancho Humilde will take it on. And then we have other concerts that we're cooking at the table that I'm not allowed to say anything because they'll kill me.
That's what happens with promoters, right? I
Right.
want the inside.
Yeah, but
I want the
we're-
tea.
Yeah, I'll tell you behind cameras, but you can't tell nobody. But we're excited because it looks like we're gonna be able to close 2023 with a lot of music.
Wow. I'm excited. Every time I sit here, I mean, we could go on and on and on and on and talk
Our
about.
producer is like,
I know. He's saying, wrap it up.
wrap it up.
But it never fails. Even though I'm sitting with you every quarter there's a new surprise, right? And I'm just extremely happy for Unidos por la Música, for your team. I've seen you grow.
12 years,
Yeah.
May 17.
I've seen you grow. I remember seeing you in the forklift, the back of your warehouse, sweating and, making it work, because you've been in the trenches from the beginning, and you continue to develop and grow. And that makes me nothing but happy for
Thank you.
and wish you continued success, because I know that everything that you do is coming back to our inland
Correct.
community where I live and I take pride, so thank you for
No,
all
thank you.
your work,
Thank
for
you, Selena.
building up our
Thank you.
communities, and for standing strong
Thank you.
as a Mexicano Latino.
But before we go, I have a surprise for you from Congressman Pete Aguilar. We want to give you your certificate for being a great community parent last year. Thank you so much for everything
Thank
you do.
you.
We really, really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to continue to working with you.
Thank you. I'm a big ambassador of Unidos por la Música, and I believe in you. I believe in your mission. I believe in what you're doing, and hopefully you'll be here next quarter,
Yes, we will.
and we could talk about all the new music and the tea that you're
Right.
going to tell me backstage. So we'll see you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Selena.
Okay.
Always, as always, thank you so much
Cuídate.
for your time. Gracias a todos.
Gracias.